Hey guys, Paradoxio here. Welcome back to a brand new video, everybody. This is part 4 of our building a website or web dev series, and in this episode we are going to be introducing Flexbox into our web page. Now before we get started, I did want to apologize for the 40 plus days that I have went without an upload. Now if you've been watching or at least following me in my Discord server, you may know that I recently took a trip outside of the country, and the trip ended up lasting twice as long due to some issues with the airline tickets. But luckily, I did manage to get back about a week ago, and I am in college now, so I'm still getting used to my new schedule. However, I am going to be able to at least upload once a week, so I will try very hard to meet that quota for you guys. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started here. So basically, what is Flexbox? Well, Flexbox is a way we can arrange our elements in our HTML file in like a column or row configuration. And where we might use Flexbox, it really varies on what you're trying to do. If your web page has like a sign up form or some sort of form where you're entering information, or if you have like a little information box on the side somewhere, you would use Flexbox to arrange those elements to make it look nice and pretty. So that's what we're going to be doing in this episode. Now, I did go ahead and make a container, and this is just a simple div container, just like we did for our menu bar, which, speaking of, by the way, you can use Flexbox for your menu bar. So if you want to try something for practice, instead of using inline block, try to use Flexbox for your menu bar, because people do use it, and Flexbox does require a lot less code, at least in my experiences it has. So if you want to save lines, if you want your code to look a little bit nicer and more simpler, try to use Flexbox for things like a menu bar or your forms or your footer bar if you have one at the bottom. But right now I have this div container, and I just called it container through its class name. And right now it has an H1 element and an H3 element, 4 input boxes, and a submit button. And basically, it just says, congratulations, you have won a new car. Enter your information to retrieve your prize. Now, I shouldn't really have to say this, but since I'm making a video on it, and you never know these days, I probably should tell you, if you ever see this on the internet, do not ever click on it. Do not ever submit information. It's more likely a scam, but it's a fun little example for this video. And it just basically gets to point across on what we can do with Flexbox. So without further ado, let's go ahead and make a CSS file, which I've already done. I just called it flex.css, and I have it opened here at the bottom. So that way we can view our HTML code and our CSS code at the same time. And I also linked it as a style sheet up here in the head section. So let's go ahead and go to our flex.css file, and we're going to go ahead and type in .container because we want to target this div class. And the reason why is because we want all of these elements inside our div class to be in a flexbox. So we need to turn this div container here into a flexbox. And by the way, if you're messing around a lot with Flexbox, you're going to hear these elements be referred to as children. Basically, this is like the parent class here, or this is the parent element, and these are the children element. Or you can also call them inner elements. That is just what they are more referred to as. They're referred to as children elements in the web development context. So if you ever hear someone say that this is what they're referring to, the parent class and the children elements. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and type in .container so we can target this div container here, the parent class. And then we're going to go ahead and set a display attribute to flex, or display property to flex. And as we do that, you can already tell you now have these or these units here, and they're all roughly the same size except for this H1 element. But, and if I scroll over, there's my button. Yeah. But, this does not look good, okay? We have a Flexbox now, but it looks absolutely awful. So we need to change it and make it look a little bit pretty, and we can do this by setting the flex direction to a column, because let's be honest, what sign up form or input form is in a row configuration like that? I've never seen one. So we're gonna type in flex direction to column, and as you can see, that automatically makes it look a whole lot better. But I don't like how all of our elements span across the entire web page. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in justify content and set that to center. And then we are going to type in align items to center. And as you can see, that automatically makes it look a whole lot better. Now, basically, we are pretty much finished, but I'm going to make this look just a tad bit better for you guys, just to make it look a little bit more appealing and make it look like an actual box in a way. Make it look like an actual modal for a sign-up form or like a prize form if it's not a scam, I guess. But after that, we can go ahead and add a gap in here. And what a gap is going to do is going to put some spacing in between each of these elements. So we can do a gap of like 20 pixels for an example. And as you can see, this automatically looks a lot better. There's some space in between each input box. And there's some space between the submit button and the phone box. And then there's some space in between these elements as well. Now, if you have multiple div containers, like if you have your H1 and H3 elements inside a div container that's also inside of this, you can set their own gap so that way maybe the space between here isn't 20 pixels, but instead 10 pixels. You can do that. I'm not really going to show it in this video, or actually, yes, I am, but you can also do this. And then we can type in class equals text. And if I wanted to, I can type in .text. And then display, flex. And well, I'm really just going to copy and paste these here. As you can see, we don't have that gap that was as big as before. So now it looks just a tad bit better. The text is closer together, but these are still remaining the same space. Let's go ahead and edit some of these a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in .text h1 h3, and we're going to set the font family to Arial, and then we're going to set the font or the color of the font to white, because it just looks a little bit better. There we go. And if I actually wanted to, I could set a background color of this container. So background color, and let's do a darker version of that color, like something like this maybe, or whoops, flex.css. There we go. And make it just a tad bit darker. There we go. And we're gonna do the width as about 500 pixels. And let's do 600. There we go. No, maybe 700? Okay, there we go. And if I go ahead and full screen this, as you can see, it's now stuck to the side. So what can we do to fix that now? Well, it's fairly simple. Inside our flex.css, we could type in body and then set the display to flex, just like that. And then we can also set these properties here as well. So now what we have here is a centered modal for our little prize form. What I could also do is set a margin top, so margin top of like 150 pixels. So that way this is more down the screen. It's a little bit more centered. Or whoops. There we go. Something else I can do to make this look a little bit prettier is give it a border radius of 15 pixels. And that's going to make this edges look a tad bit rounder. Now, I gave it a margin top, but I'm also going to give it a padding on the bottom of about 20 pixels. That way, our submit button isn't just hovering at the bottom. Now, this is basically it. This is pretty much all that Flexbox is. Of course, there's a lot more to it. And there are some really in-depth videos and tutorials that you can find online about how you could use Flexbox and the different things you can do to it. But this is what you're most commonly going to see whenever you make a form or find a form online or like a sign-up page. This is usually what it's going to look like, and it is using Flexbox to assort these items in a row or, well, most of the time a column configuration like this. Now, of course, you can edit all of these elements. You can type in .container space input and change the width, color, the font, etc. You can do the same thing with the button, but I'm not going to do it in this video because that doesn't really pertain to Flexbox, and it more just pertains to general CSS. So that's about it for this video, and I do appreciate you guys for watching until the end. Thank you so much for being patient with me. If you guys want to, or if you are stuck on any code, whether it's web development or Python, C#, whatever it may be sure to join my Discord server. The link will be in the description. And you can also join the House of Code community by creating yourself an account on my website at houseofcode.xyz. Again, the link will be in the description. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment letting me know what you would like to see next time. And with that all out of the way, you guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.